But thanks for joining us. And then, like I said, we can have questions 100%, but just make sure we can use the chat function or the Q&A function, whichever one's easiest. But feel free to use those if you have questions as we go through, and then we'll answer them at the end. But we're excited to have Jess here today. She is a dietitian here at Providence. And so, Jess, if you are ready, you can take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Jess. I'm a dietitian. I work mainly at Holy Family Hospital in outpatient nutrition. I do a lot of different outpatient nutrition education. So like ranging from, help with weight management to GI to diabetes. So the whole gamut. But right now I want to focus on heart health. And this is going to be a little bit of a lighter presentation, less research based, more just kind of, seasonal foods and seasonings, eating for the seasons for heart health. And yeah, I do some foraging, I do gardening, I love fruits and veggies, I love exploring my food environment wherever I'm at. I love it. So, the why. Why are we eating for heart health? It's because, food should be fun. Eating healthy in a healthy way should be fun. So we're looking at, more ways to increase variety of fruits and veggies to help increase fiber. And we're looking at heart healthy, tasty ways to enjoy foods. And, that also comes with the added bonus of like if you're getting your flavorings not from salt, like you're getting all these added benefits there, especially for heart health. So we're looking at, fresh fruits and veggies and herbs and following the seasonal pattern of Washington State. We do have seasons here, and yeah, it does vary a little bit, west side to east side, but we do have some seasons, and it is cheaper to buy foods in season. And when picked at peak freshness, you're going to get more flavor. So, more flavor, fresher, and the more you can enjoy eating that food. And then we're also going to look at, like as far as like gathering and gardening, like those are great ways to be active, which is also good for heart health. And then we're looking at like sharing resources. So food is also communal. Like we can enjoy nature's bounty together. And the what. So we're looking at that seasonal food availability in Washington State. So I am going to transition over to like certain websites throughout this presentation. And I'm going to have this huge list of resources for y'all at the end of this. It's basically going to be incorporated in my slides. So please, download this presentation if it's available, and all those links will have links to all the websites that I'm using because these are some really good links to have just to see like all of the like food resources, foraging resources, gardening resources, classes, things like that that are, low cost or free. And then we're going to be looking at exploring your seasonal food environment. So, what does that supermarket look like? Looking at farmers markets, gardening, foraging, then going on to salt-free seasonings. There's so much more than just salt out there. And then we'll look at, quick like seasonal recipes and resources throughout. All right. So here is the win. There are two resources that I want to share about like available produce in Washington State. So I'm going to do my first transition and hopefully I can get over there with a screen share. So just bear with me. Screen two. That is not right. Let's see here. Aha. There you are. Okay. So I have found this website. It's Farm Fresh Washington, and you can click by month. So right now I clicked August because I'm really excited to see what's coming up. And actually a lot of these veggies, these fruits are available other times of the year as well. But really blueberries are coming in, carrots are starting to come in, and these are going to be things you're seeing at the grocery store. Lettuce and peas, and actually like if you have a gooseberry plant, those are going to start to come in. I just harvested some apricots with my son and my in-laws. It's been great. Last month we were doing strawberries. I know zucchinis are going to start coming up in a bit. Dill has been just prolific in my garden. Um, Marionberries, those are very neat. And a lot of these foods are just packed with antioxidants. They've got fiber. They are going to be just great ways to get variety into your diet, and it's really going to help with heart health. And they're coming with so much flavor, especially right now when they're picked at the peak season. So, like, and we can look throughout, like, I'm going to click on December here. And so there are still things that are available, like, in December or in January. And these are going to be a little bit, there's definitely less available in January. That's, winter time. So you're going to do more like root vegetables. Like, you will see more produce available, and it might be seasonal in other parts of the world that, have been transported over to your local grocery store. Um, but here's kind of what will be available then. But please, um, definitely go and explore your grocery store throughout the months. And I'm going to get back to the PowerPoint presentation if I can. Let's see, here we go. Ah. I don't know why I had to grunt there, but there we go. Um, and then What's Growing is also another good resource just to kind of take it month to month when they're available, like what fruits and veggies are available. Farm Flavors, another good website as well. And now we're going to look at seasonal supermarkets. So really, I encourage you explore the produce section of your grocery store because it's changing. It changes every month. You're going to see different varieties of fruits and veggies, and it still surprises me. Like I found kiwi berries at Trader Joe's. Like there's going to be, and it doesn't have to be Trader Joe's, it could be any supermarket that you're nearby. It's going to rotate seasonally. You might notice a different variety of pears or a different variety of squash, fancy cabbages, like even some that, I hadn't been able to pronounce. So really, like, and I'm a dietitian, like I'm a foodie, like I love this stuff, but like you're gonna be surprised each time you go to that produce section, what's available. And then it's definitely worth it to kind of explore the peripheries of the produce section. Sometimes they'll have live plants, like they'll have like live basil's a pretty common one. Um, Sometimes, you can find like different like fresh herbs that are available there. They can be a little bit on the spendy side. Sometimes you can find dried herbs or herb pastes in the produce section. So really look around. And even in some grocery stores, they will have free recipe cards. So you can just kind of look through, like sometimes you can pull out like a card. I know Winco has those cards. And then you will even find, so if like some stores will have what's called Snap Produce Match. So if you're somebody who uses EBT, you can buy $10 of produce. So that's fresh, frozen, or canned with the EBT card, and either get a $10 coupon on your next purchase for fruits and veggies or a $5 discount on your purchase. So this is specifically like Snap Washington has this feature. I know if you go to their website, Snap Produce Match, and I have a link for that on the next slide, it's going to show you how to do that, what stores support that. So this is just at the produce store. Things are getting more expensive out there. And so it's just a way to make your food dollars stretch more for those fruits and veggies because everybody deserves fruits and veggies, nutritious foods. And so we're going to talk a little bit about farmers markets and stands. I did include the Snap Produce Match link here. And really, I would, if you have Snap, please check this out. And then there's also something called Snap Market Match. And so that is another bonus program by Snap EBT, and it allows participants to buy additional fruits, veggies, mushrooms, herbs, and plant starts at farmers markets. So this is just at farmers markets. And for 2025, they can match up to $25 a day. So that is a slightly different program than the produce match, but it can make your dollars go further at farmers markets. And I just did a quick clip of Spokane farmers markets, kind of when they are, what days of the week, but I also included a list from the Inlander and the Spokane Farmers Market list. So you can click on either one of those and it's going to give you like more specifics. And I would just encourage you, if there's one by you, please go visit. It is a wonderful experience. You're going to get good smells, wonderful sights. You're going to get a sense of community. There's just, people out there selling their produce and it's wonderful. It's a great place to, take the grandkids or the kids and just have a little bit of fun. And then there's also kind of a more like say if you're going for like a Sunday drive or something, like really drive around the outskirts of our city or small towns, like drive around those areas because you will find like just little produce stands around. They're not as common as they used to be, but they still exist. Like I found one in Coeur d'Alene that it was just this little stand and it was kind of on the honor system. You drop in the money and kind of take whatever like fruits and veggies you think is fair. And that was amazing to see that. And there's plenty of like fruit stands around the outskirts or like in rural areas, and you're going to be supporting local farmers. And you could find like some amazing things. And there's also, we're really lucky in this area to have Green Bluff. So again, like it is a little bit of a drive up north, but it's, home to family farms since 1902. It's part of the Green Bluffs Growers Association, and it's made up of about 30 farms. And so it's a really fun, like family outing. We picked blueberries and apricots there. Again, it's, the prices are going to vary per farm, they're going to vary per season. And sometimes, if you go like slightly later in the season for certain things, they're just trying to get rid of their produce. So we've been able to get like some free cherries, like some free fruits, depending on like where you go, when you go. But it's always important to have a plan if you're going to harvest in larger amounts because uh, it can go bad. Like fruit and veggies can go bad, especially fresh, if you don't have a plan for them. And so another way to be active and to like just experience seasonal food is to grow it yourself. Like that is an incredible experience. Not everybody has the opportunity to do that, but you can, a lot of people can get started in very small ways. Um, Even if it's like little indoor containers, even if it is a community garden box, like that one spot in your yard, if you happen to have a yard, um, even a windowsill that gets a little bit of light, you have a pot, some dirt, a little starter plant, you water it, you know, keep it in the sun, and that's it. Herbs are usually um, very easy to start with, like a little bit of herbs. It doesn't have to be fancy, just as long as you put something in dirt, get it out in the sun, water it. It's worth it to see something grow throughout the season, see how it changes. Like, so think about like your environment. Does it have, a window that gets adequate sun? Can you put something out there? Can you hang some plants? I know my sister and I, when we were younger and living together, we had a balcony. And so we just started putting more and more plants on that balcony, and it turned into this luscious garden. Um, and I'm very lucky. I've got a yard now, and I've been starting, slowly building like little features for it, trying to do as low cost as possible. I use sometimes I'll use veggie scraps from the grocery store. So this picture of like see coming up on here, uh this picture of green onions it was 79 cents, and I cut the tops off of them and just grew the little bulbs in some water, and I replanted them. So that was 79 cents for those, and I have had green onions all summer long, and it was 79 cents. I have a young son who goes through berries like crazy, so I got some blueberry bushes. Now, I know they're not going to produce yet. They made a little, like there's my great harvest right there with the four blueberries. Um, but I'm learning, and I got a few of those plants, and I know in the years to come they'll give me more and more, and I'll take care of their soil a little bit better. Looking at getting involved with community gardening. So these two pictures in the center here are from me volunteering with some community gardeners to grow food for the food banks. So we planted Three Sisters, we've done some squash, there's some tomatoes there. And then this little stick guy on the bottom left is just something that I made from our crabapple trees, like shoots. So I cut them off. I kind of latticed them together a little bit, and my peas are growing up on there. And I've got like some dill growing up on the side. It's just wonderful to like get started. Again, I'm not a master gardener. I really haven't taken a lot of gardening classes. I'm just learning as I go. And there are definitely a lot of resources. I'm going to go back to these resources to get started. So you don't even have to like buy gardening books. You can just get them from the library. There's huge sections at our local libraries. And what is so neat about the local libraries is a lot of them will have seed banks. So you don't even have to buy seeds at the store. You can get them for free at the library. It is an amazing resource. And other resources that I've used for gardening, like I love looking through YouTube videos for like other gardeners. I like TikTok. There are so many other social media apps that just have people that are enthusiastic about gardening, just starting off and sharing their tips. There's a link to the almanac, which has been surprisingly, it's been so helpful. You can get gardening books secondhand at yard sales, local bookstores, family, friends, like just it's a very low um, cost hobby. Like it can either get really expensive or it can be nearly free if you look for it, if you ask around, if you start meeting people. Like there are gardeners in your neighborhood, I'm sure, friends and family who are gardeners that would love to share tips and help you out to get started. And the Spokane Edible Tree Project has like gleaning and gardening classes that are very low cost. That is a great place. University Extension, so this is WSU Extension. This is the part of the college that is there to serve the public and to teach about gardening, about canning, about food preservation, like about nutrition. Nutrition extension is also a part of that. I worked for University of Idaho Extension Services. So this is the branch of the university that is meant to help the public. And they have a lot of low cost classes out there. This is getting towards, like usually these classes will be available like early spring so that people can get started early in the spring and learn those skills. So maybe not so much this year, but for next year, definitely look out for those classes. And another thing to note about the Spokane Edible Tree Project, you can sign up for gleaning sessions. So that's where you go with a group and you collect fruit. So like fruit or like veggies that there are a lot of, like in the neighborhood, sometimes there are picks at Green Bluff when they can't harvest all their food, and that food can get gleaned. You can keep some of that for yourself, and then with the extra, it's donated to local food banks and help just to help the community. So that's another way to, get active and get some fresh fruits, some fresh veggies while helping the community. And I did skip ahead that slide. So, just beginning gardens, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to look amazing. It doesn't have to, like plants die, like that just happens. I have, you got to take the good with the bad and make it a learning experience. Like, what did I learn from this? What did I learn from that? So I want to move on to foraging. So this is something I have done since I was little, but I want to make it very clear I am not an expert. I am a very happy enthusiast. And I just want to share a little bit of some of like my tips and resources for foraging. Um, because it is just so fun up here. Like we are so lucky to live in an area that has so many wild forageable edibles. Like we're known for our huckleberries, we're known for our morels. Like these are common and a lot of people go looking for them. And not only that, like these plants, these fruits that we're foraging for, they're really nutritious. They can absolutely be a part of a heart healthy diet, and then looking for them, going around, trying to be in, in nature with them, like that's great for your heart too. Like being active, again, it is a lot of looking down, depending on what you're looking for, but it is a way to get out and get active in a fun way. So I think the biggest part of foraging is knowing your environment. So what grows where in your area, both edible and inedible. So it's like, if you're looking for something edible, it's like, what are other things that are inedible or possibly toxic that look like those things? Look around in your area before you harvest. What happened in that area that you are planning to harvest from? Is it the side of the road? Has it been sprayed with weed killer? Is there heavy metal contamination in the site? Is it private property? Are you allowed to harvest there? So those are all the things you need to know before you go and just pluck things. Um, and then sometimes you don't have to go really far to find forageable edibles. So are there tasty plants growing in your garden boxes? Like for me, like purslane will just grow in my garden boxes. Lamb's quarters will just grow. Like they are just so prolific. So thinking about that before you pluck. Or like, hey, did you find something on a nice long hike away from roads on public lands? And even sometimes with public lands, there are some restrictions for harvesting. Like I think I read a story recently, somebody way over harvested huckleberries and they're facing charges for that. So you got to know how much, when, what's in your area, has it been sprayed? So all of those things to consider before starting. And always, always be 100% certain before you take a bite. 100%, not 99, 100% before you take a bite. And then also knowing how much to take that is sustainable for that area. Like, are there just like a few plants, or is it growing just abundantly? Like, an example is dandelions. um, and then, do you have a plan in place to use and or preserve what you harvest? So if you pick a bunch and you don't have a plan, it's going to go bad, and that's a waste. So it's good to take a little time, and it's really good to just do a lot of like investigation and know your environment before you start um, before you start to forage. It's going to take a little bit of time. Uh, but starting with the easy stuff can absolutely help. So I started, like my family, they're avid hikers. They just love being outdoors. Like, they showed me some basic things. Like, yarrow is fairly easy to identify. Dandelions are super easy to identify. Morels. And there are lookalikes to, with morels. Like, they showed me the difference between a regular morel and a false morel. It's like, don't pick that one. Um, so just knowing the easy stuff that's really easy to find. A lot of people that have experience with those easy ones to start with. Huckleberries are another really good one to start with. Um, and then you can also get hands-on experience by going to like plant shows. I know the fair is coming up. They're going to have plants that are labeled. Like, they're going to be absolutely labeled. Like, going to greenhouses with labels, farm stores, like even like the local grocery store might have some plants out with labels, so you can look and see what those plants are looking like. And then, but your gold standard here is learning from an expert in the field. So hands-on in the field with an expert is the best. So I've got links to two classes, and again, a lot of them are probably full up now, but something to look forward to next year. So I've got links for classes, for some local experts. And again, a lot of the experts I found in Washington are over on the west side. There are some here, but more of them are going to be in the, more Pacific Northwest area. But we do have some here. And something that is available to everyone at low or no cost are plant apps. So these are just apps you can download on your phone. I've got links to them. They're not 100% accurate. I've noticed that when I'm using them, it's like 80% of the time it gets it. And so don't just eat a plant after you took a picture of it on your phone and the app said it's this plant. It could be toxic. So you need to be 100% certain before you bite. So a few of the apps that I've used that are free or little to no cost, iNaturalist is great. Picture This, Plant Snap, Eat the Planet, Forager Diary are a few that I have used. And again, take a lot of pictures, and you can keep them like in your phone for later, and you can always cross-reference those pictures with books. So I have a lot of books here. This picture has your cat tax here with a whole lot of books that I've collected. And I love books that have a lot of pictures that are written by experts, and that are of the area that I'm looking for. So there's also websites that you can go to that have a lot of pictures that are free. I think Bushcraft is one I can show you here. I'm going to stop the share and try and go to it. All right, let's try it. There we go. So I hope you can see this screen. So this is Northern Bushcraft, and it actually is a little bit more like in the BC area, but it has a lot of like edible mushrooms of Washington. And now mushrooms are definitely one of those ones you have to be 100% certain before you bite, because these guys are a no joke. They even have a warning on their website. Um, but let's see here. Looking at like plants in the BC area. I'm just clicking, let's see. I'll click dandelion and it's got a description, it's got pictures, 7 pictures here for dandelion and field notes. Another one, let's see, that I see a lot of dock. I'll see this growing all over Spokane. Different pictures. It's just really fun to explore this website, and there are a lot of other websites as well that I'll include. Um, let's see here, looking at berries. Thimbleberries. So this is one I used to eat all the time as a kid. This is one my family showed me. I still will eat it on occasion. It tastes like it's like a less tart raspberry. And these will actually grow kind of where huckleberries are growing too. So, like as kids, we would pick huckleberries and then go off and pick some of these, but we could never pick enough of these to make jam. We just eat them. But you're looking for leaves, you're looking for flowers, like how many petals, like you're looking at like the actual berry, um, like the stem. So and it will like a really good plant guide is going to give you all the steps to identify with a lot of pictures, but it's always good to have an expert. So I am going to get back to my presentation now. There we go. And I did include 2 pictures on here of plants and why I didn't eat them. So at the bottom here is a picture of a fern, and it's growing in my yard. I know the environment is safe to eat this in. I don't put anything in my yard. Um, and some ferns are edible. I have eaten different like fiddleheads. This I couldn't identify it correctly in my plant app, and my brother-in-law told me it was ostrich fern. So one, I'm not 100% certain about this, so I'm not going to eat it right there. And then two, if I was 100% certain this was ostrich fern, I would need to prepare it in such a way to make it edible. It needs to be cooked. It needs to be harvested at a certain time. Um, so that's a lot of work. So even if I was 100% certain of what this was, is it worth my time? Not really. And then up here is a picture of what I'm pretty certain is camas. And camas was it is edible. It was a food crop used by tribes in our area, and the reason that I did not harvest this, I did not eat this is because one, it was growing in Lincoln Park. There were only a few of them, and I couldn't be 100% certain this was camas. I'm fairly certain it is, and but it wasn't a lot of that, and I wasn't sure about any of the foraging rules at our like local city parks, so I would not have touched this camas, and I did not. So those are just some examples. And looking at preparing foraged foods, have a plan. Look up recipes beforehand. There are so many ways to prepare like certain foods. Like for example, dandelion. Yeah, dandelion is so edible. It is a really good source of vitamin C. It is super edible. The leaves are edible, and when they're young, I will have them in, like, I'll usually like steam them and have them as a green. The flowers are edible. I've used them to make jelly and jam. Like my mother-in-law taught me to do that. You can use them to make wine. Dandelion wine is a thing. And this in the center here, these like dark things, that's dandelion root that I harvested and roasted. And all of that, which made like this much, came from harvesting like 2 hours of harvesting in my backyard from a pile of plants that was like this big. But I needed to get rid of a lot of dandelions in my yard. So from this much plants came this much usable root. But I had a plan, and when you pick them, pick only as much as you can use and or store. Think about temporary storage. Make sure you clean them, make sure they're free from bugs. So these morels here, these are drying. We've washed them a little bit and now they're drying. They'll usually have little bugs in them. So just be aware of that. A little bit of protein, I guess. Um, and make sure like you prepare them like correctly for storage. It was really easy with huckleberries, like you can freeze them, you can dry them. We made jam, but washing them, having a plan for temporary storage is important. By the way, this dandelion root is really neat because it can be used as a caffeine-free coffee substitute. If you mix it in a little bit of hot water and you kind of smell the fragrance of that water. It smells kind of chocolatey. That's really neat. Um, and so this is just the links to all of my foraging resources. So a seasonal foraging chart in Washington State. That is very useful. Northern Bushcraft, we just saw that. Again, like I really am a proponent of the Spokane Edible Tree Project classes. There's foraging researches there, Eat the Planet classes, and then that huge list of foraging apps. And just to put this in perspective, how much forageable food is out there? Like I did a lap around Holy Family. Again, I would not eat these plants because usually we'll spray or I'm by like a main road. I found some of these in like a parking lot, so I wouldn't eat them. But like they're out there. So this one on the left is purslane. It is a really good source of omega-3 fatty acids, and it's a plant. It's used in Mediterranean cooking. It has a slightly citric, tangy flavor, especially when picked in the morning. It's good pickled. Like it's good as a topping, good as a salad green. You can eat it fresh. You just have to rinse it. I have a bunch grown in my garden. It just grows there. And so I know where it's coming from. It likes a little bit slightly disturbed, like sandier soils. And then another key to it is if you break it apart, it has a little bit of mucousy, stringy stuff like between like the broken parts. And a common lookalike is spurge. And so when you snap spurge, it has a white sap. It doesn't have that like clear mucus. And so that's how you can tell the difference between the two. Um, Purslane's a little more succulent. And then next to purslane, that's the dandelion. Like that's just a great starter plant for foraging. I think just about anybody could identify that with 100% certainty. Like the leaves and the flowers are dead giveaway. And then this was a little pot that was just on the side of the building at Holy Family, and I saw some dill growing in it. And there's even a little sign that says, "This isn't weed, it's dill." So that's great. There's just dill growing in my garden wild, like it just does that. So I use that for pickling. I use that as a side for like fish or eggs. I love dill. And then here is lamb's quarters. That is another prolific weed that is just as nutritious, even more so than spinach. It has a slightly powdery underside to its leaf. The leaves look like duck feet. It has a lot of common names, but that's another one that's fairly like easy to find and identify and grows especially well in gardens. So you might have plucked some of it. And then this guy up here, top right corner, is called pineapple weed. And what is really neat about this is it's a member of the chamomile family. And a way to identify this is you can pick a little flower bud and you squish it, and then you take like a little sniff, and it's gonna smell like pineapple. Like it smells so much like pineapple, and you probably can find this in your driveway. And again, I wouldn't eat this right here. It's in the crack in a sidewalk. Like I probably wouldn't eat that right there. But it's also in like, along the sides of like country roads. It'll be like if you don't like spray your driveway and it's kind of out in the country, you can probably gather some, rinse it off. It makes a really good tea. And now I want to get to like just herbs and spices. So, herbs and spices just help reduce overall sodium intake. If like salt is the main flavor in your food, like you're missing out on so much. So much. You're missing out on the health benefits of herbs and spices. Like some have very strong anti-inflammatory properties. Um, some come with a lot of antioxidants. Some are high in certain vitamins and minerals, and spices and herbs are just packed full of flavor. So on the left here are herbs and spices that I use, like this handout is what I use to help, kind of reduce the salt intake of the people that I work with. So kind of what goes with what. And again, like herbs and spices can be seasonal. Like right now, they're growing like wild in my garden. So like mint is really good right now. I know for a more fall like herb, kind of more sage, more rosemary. And then it's not just the ones that are on this list. Like this little guy here, these little round leafy bits, those are nasturtium. And they're an edible flower. So when this grows up, it's going to have these beautiful flowers that when you eat them, they taste peppery. So they're a great addition to a salad. I had some wild violets growing in my yard earlier this year. Those are also edible. Certain clover are edible as well. So to make like a very colorful salad. Um, Chives. I can't kill them. They grow everywhere. I think I've got some chives in that rosemary pot, and they go great with salads, eggs, sauces, soups. You can put them on top of anything, and they're really easy to digest. So if you have trouble digesting onions or garlic, if you still want that like oniony hit that's easy to digest, like just chopping up some chives, putting it in things. Um, the bay leaves. I know you can grow like um, different like bay, like little mini trees, bushes as well. Like those, like one little leaf will do you to like season stews or like seafood. Basil is growing really well right now. There's like so many ways to have basil, like caprese salad, anything Italian. It is beautiful. Another thing you can do with certain herbs like mint, like basil, like crush them up, put them in water, and it's going to flavor your water. It's going to taste amazing, refreshing. So I'll see if I can like attach a link to this PDF because on the other side of it, and I didn't include this here, there's how to make your own herb and spice blends. So you can kind of season things as you like without salt. And here are just like some quick recipes for each season. I took these from the American Heart Association. So again, there's going to be lower in sodium, they're going to be higher in fiber, and they're going to be full of like, colorful fruits and veggies. They're straightforward, so you can follow each one of these links. I just want to say a little bit about asparagus. That actually grows wild up here and around Montana. So this can actually be harvested in the late spring, and it can be planted, but if you plant it, you plant the rhizome, and it takes a few years to start producing asparagus. But once that gets established, it grows really well, and it goes so well with lemon, and it's so easy to just broil it for a few minutes, like 425, broil it for about 12, 14 minutes, and spritz a lemon. You could even cut up some fresh herbs, throw that on top. There you go. And then for summer, there's so much seasonal fruit available right now, so really take advantage of it. Like these berries, that blackberry, that raspberries, like they're growing right now. I think I see some apricots on there and a little side of mint. And mint is another herb that is so easy to plant. That might be a really good starter plant, but if you plant it in a container because it's going to take over your whole garden. It's going to take it over. I ruined my mom's garden beds with that. I've been digging it up every year and it keeps coming back, so put it in a container. It'll grow for you. And this apple pear crisp, like we're like in Washington state, we have so many varieties of apples. I think like WSU came out with like a new variety of apples like just a year or two ago. And our pears are wonderful as well. So this fall recipe comes with a lot of like warm spices and is incorporating like fruit that has grown up here in it. So please check out these very simple recipes for the seasons. And before I wanted to leave, at least 10 minutes um, for some questions, but I just wanted to end with nutritious food needs to be and should be available and affordable for everyone. Enjoying food seasonally and sharing foods can help reduce cost, promote physical activity, inspire young kids to eat fruits and veggies, encourage exploration of your environment, and help you make connections with others in your community and help strengthen communities through sharing food and seasonal plant tips. So, like foraging and gardening tips. You start talking to people, you're going to get some really neat like resources and tips. And again, food is for everyone. So, as you can, share food with your neighbors, have a neighborhood barbecue, take your friends in need to food pantries, utilize food pantries if you need them, donate fresh produce to food pantries, especially especially if you can't possibly process it all. Say you have a large garden, you're an amazing gardener, but zucchini took over. There's no way you can possibly eat that. Share it with local food banks. Learn to can, dry, and preserve foods for storage. Don't hoard, share it. Share your knowledge. And if you have leftovers, knock on doors, build community gardens, build community food pantries. I love those little, like walking around our neighborhood. I love those little, like, local, like little libraries, but for food. So we're going to be working on building one of those. Um, but food is getting more expensive, and SNAP cuts are coming. So that's why I shared some resources for people who utilize SNAP. And I work in outpatient nutrition, and even now I have people needing food assistance since SNAP isn't meeting the rising cost of food and it doesn't last the month. So we can do so much better with our food systems. We need to prepare for the worst and work to build for the best because food's for everyone. So that's what I have. I can take questions now.
Thanks, Jess. That was wonderful. If you have any questions at all, you can go ahead and throw them in the chat. We'll give it a little bit and see if any pop up here. We had a
Ah,
in the chat about downloading the presentation. Jess, do you, because I know there's a ton of links in here. If you, because I'll send out I can send out a giant link with the presentation or like PDF with the links. Is that okay?
Yeah, please
Okay.
do.
Okay, perfect. Then anyone who attended slash signed up, I'll send out the actual link to the presentation so that we can use all the links that she has in there. I have a question.
Yeah, sure. We'll see what I can do.
Okay, we were out fishing one weekend and there was these berries and they were like I looked them up and they were like juniperberries or something. Juniper, what I don't know. They came in like little clusters. You know what I'm
Oh,
talking about?
I think so. Like, so they're not juniper berries, but they're
I wait, maybe they are juniper berries. I don't
or
know.
were they kind of like a grayish, like tealy color with like a little powder on them?
I think so.
Hmm. Was it kind of like a an evergreen shrubby guy
No,
that they were on?
actually
Oh,
no, no.
okay. Maybe
They
on
were
a
everywhere.
picture.
They were on a bush, and I was like, I want to know if I could eat them or not, but I didn't have any service. And I know you should just eat random berries. And then I was like, that's just monkeys. But I should have taken a pic. I don't even have a picture of them. So maybe I'll email you a picture that I found on the internet.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, it's fun. I love trying to figure that out. Yeah,
I
and
kept
again, like I
finding
can't be
them.
100% certain, so probably.
No, they were everywhere too. And I was like, I wonder if I can eat these, but I didn't. But maybe I'll find a picture and send them to you.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay. Any questions from anyone else in here? It's not looking like it.
All right.
But yeah, I'll send out the presentation with the links and everything like that. And then that way everyone has those. But thanks, Jess. That was super informative. That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, happy to share. All
Yay.
right.
Perfect. Well, have a great rest of your week, everyone. And then I'll just end the meeting.
Sounds good. Take care.
Bye.
Welcome.